Te Upoko, Te Ika, tahi ono tahi huri no I te pokapua pōneke wariwhitu ono ko Paora Sweeny tēnei e mihi atu nei. And right now, whānau, we are blessed to have Tahu Kukutai on the phone to talk more about the state of the New Zealand economy I tēnei wā. At the moment, we've been in lockdown. Our economy has been shut down for the past couple of weeks, and I'm sure it's got a bit of an effect. It's having an effect on not only our economy, but the world economy is feeling it. Tēnā koe e Tahu.
Tēnā koe e hoa.
Kei te pehi a koe, how are you this afternoon?
Oh, ahua pai. Trying to, do my mahi and look after 3 kids while my essential worker husband is out of the whare. So, it's basically controlled chaos.
I think it's like that at my whare as well. And I'm just thankful that I'm able to leave the whare and still go to mahi. But also keeping in mind all the rules and all the things that the government are urging us to do in terms of this lockdown period. Hoiano, I want to talk about the economy here in Aotearoa. I mean, we do know, it's been kind of shut down, but all over the world there's kind of, the world economy is kind of, I wouldn't say failing, but I want to kind of say almost kind of going down. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but what are your thoughts about the state of the New Zealand economy right now?
Oh, look, there's so much uncertainty, but what we do know is that, initially the focus was on controlling the pandemic, controlling the disease. Once you get that in hand, and, I think to our government's credit, they went early, went hard, went strong, and that really, prevented the large number of deaths that could have otherwise eventuated with a much more sort of relaxed approach. So once sort of mass fatalities is no longer the sort of immediate crisis, the immediate need. Of course, the economic impact and consequences of it start to get more attention, and certainly we've seen that in the last couple of weeks. And in Aotearoa, we're not buffered. We're part of the global market. We're part of the global economy, and so. When the world hurts, we hurt too.
Yeah.
And, we just know from our past experiences that as Māori, we have always been disproportionately affected by any economic crisis. And that's not an opinion, that's a fact. And there's a lot of data to evidence that. And so even if we look in the recent past, 30 years ago, the impacts of Rogernomics and the restructuring of the late 1980s and early 1990s had a massive impact on our whānau. And, growing up in Ngārua Wāhia and other small towns that had quite a high degree of reliance on a single industry, with the meatworks and then, the mines down the road, to a whole lot of communities, same in down the Hawke's Bay as well, that were really affected by the closure of freezing works and by the massive restructuring of those sectors. And so, there's a few really clear examples in recent history of where Māori communities and whānau and workers have been really hard hit. Anytime there's sort of an external shock, an economic shock. So, of course, this time it raises the question: what are the impacts going to be on us? Where are they going to be felt most sharply? And what can we do to not only mitigate that, but also where are the opportunities?
Tika.
So it's that balance between addressing what is wrong and amplifying and empowering what is strong. And I think really, as Māori, we need to be at the decision-making table. We need the opportunity as treaty partners to articulate our vision of what an economic reset looks like. Not a return to business as usual, because business as usual clearly didn't actually benefit a whole lot of our people. So what's the different vision? How can we do better, not just the same? And there's a lot of really interesting, really well thought out, considered, innovative whakaaro coming from Māori businesses, coming from Māori communities, and from providers about what that might look like.
Yesterday I spoke to the spokesman for the Māori Party, and at the moment they're looking at rejigging or reforming the Resource Management Act here in Aotearoa to bring on new job opportunities for when we do reboost the economy. But in saying that, yes, I can see the positive side to that, but it could mean a lot of different things in terms of how we look after and how we manage as tangata Māori, as iwi Māori, the management of our land and our natural resources. So I see that issue, and we can see other big companies of Aotearoa like Air New Zealand getting hit really hard from this lockdown and this world crisis. What are your thoughts, and how do you see this impacting on Māori businesses here in Aotearoa, the lockdown period and this time that we're going through right now?
Yeah, look, I'm not an economist, so I don't have kind of like deep insights on Māori businesses in particular. Most of my work has really been in population research, but I think what is clear is that we are overexposed in some areas. So, like I guess an obvious example is around tourism. And so, for those Māori businesses which may be iwi based, or they may be just small and medium enterprises that are in the tourism game, there's no two ways about it that those impacts will be and have already been experienced. It's not like this is waiting to come. This happened very early on. They felt it the sharpest and the earliest. So what does, is there a recovery from that? What does that look like? I mean, I am optimistic in the sense that I think there is a lot of opportunity there for distinctively Māori ecotourism. We do have, a unique advantage in terms of our identity, our mātauranga, a way of doing business that really kind of centres, that is intergenerationally focused, that is, has a long-term view, and that puts the well-being of the taiao also, clearly in focus. So it's a different way of thinking about well-being, and that often influences the business approach as well. So not to diminish the very significant impacts that our Māori businesses in particular sectors will be feeling right now, but there's also some opportunities for innovation, but that needs to be actively supported. So, those sectors need to be actively supported to pivot to a new way of doing things if that's where they want to go, rather than just be sort of left to create opportunities for themselves. There needs to be support mechanisms there.
So, okay, we could be going down to level 2 in the next couple of weeks and then down to level 1. How do you see the reboot of the economy looking like, and what do you feel needs to happen to support local businesses when we do go through the process of opening back up, or the economy opening up to the world? How do you see the reboot happening, and what do you think it would look like?
Well, gee, that's a big question.
I don't know. I've been wondering all day.
Well, it's a good big question. It's a good big question. Well, look, so the Minister of Finance has signalled pretty clearly that there's kind of a three-wave approach in terms of the economic recovery, and that first kind of, the first step, the first wave is about cushioning the blow. So the wage subsidies and kind of the bank initiatives were part of that cushion the blow. The second wave is around kickstarting the economy, and the third wave is around sort of resetting and rebuilding. And there's been a lot of talk about, shovel-ready projects to kind of help that kickstarting process and get things underway quickly. I guess my view is that, shovel-ready is one thing, but we don't want to be putting shovels in our people's hands. So for me, it's even if it's around kickstarting or that sort of early response, we need to have the long-term transformative view at the forefront from the start. And so when I think about, where some of the opportunities are, with our rangatahi and taiwohi, by 2038, nearly 1/4 of the young working age population, the whole of the motu, and this is the 15 to 39-year-olds, right. So that young working age population, 1 in 4 is going to be Māori. Now, in some of the regions, that's going to be closer to half. So to me, this is about, we need to accelerate strategic investment in our rangatahi, in our, actually their tamariki, now and in future tamariki, to actually step into those opportunities, into high value jobs. Not so shovel ready doesn't mean literally with a shovel, like an infrastructure shouldn't mean building roads. Like, there's knowledge infrastructure, there's digital infrastructure, there's so many opportunities in high tech, and so there needs to be a really strong and clear and strategic investment in our taonga and our young people who are going to be, the future workers. And there's also the challenge of automation on a whole range of sectors, so we need to be prepared to step into that challenge as well. So I guess that's kind of a roundabout way of saying that this is actually, this is maybe once in a lifetime opportunity, really, to have a different vision.